And we're starting off tonight with updates coming in from Ukraine. It's currently 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time, which means it's around 5:30 p.m. in Ukraine. And according to the latest information, a joint press conference that was scheduled to take place between Trump's envoy, Kellogg, and the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, has been cancelled. Now, it's believed that the event was cancelled at the request of the United States. Now, what we know is that this information has come from the office of the Ukrainian president. And as a result of this cancellation, we will not be hearing from either of the two leaders following today's crucial talks between Ukraine and the US in Kiev. Now, this decision essentially follows the war of words between Kiev and Washington. US President Donald Trump, remember, accused Zelensky of being a dictator. Not just that, blamed him for the war with Russia. On Wednesday, in fact, Zelensky suggested that Donald Trump was living in a Russian, quote-unquote, disinformation bubble. And we've also heard from the current U.S. administration, the White House National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, told Fox News that Ukraine should, I'm quoting, tone it down, take a hard look, and sign that deal. The deal being one with the U.S. on rare earth minerals, just for context here. And according to news agency Reuters, Waltz has said that Ukraine's pushback and quote-unquote bad-mouthing in the press is simply unacceptable, given everything that the U.S. has done for Ukraine. In fact, Waltz has insisted that the difference of views could be reconciled, as the president also said how much he loves the Ukrainian people. Waltz also reportedly denied that U.S. allies and Ukraine were not being consulted on the peace talks. On Thursday, the Kremlin also accused Zelensky of making what it called inadmissible remarks about other world leaders. The Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, said, and I'm quoting here, the rhetoric of Zelensky and many representatives of the Kiev regime leaves much to be desired. The fact that Zelensky's rating is falling is an absolutely obvious trend, quote unquote. Now, all of this going on, meanwhile, Russia continues to make advances on the battlefield. In the latest, Russian forces hit a multi-story apartment building in the southern Ukrainian city of Kherson with guided bombs. The attack killed one person and injured three others, causing serious damage. Russian troops, in fact, withdrew from the western bank of the Dnieper River in the autumn of 2023, remember, and took up positions on the eastern side, from which they have been reportedly shelling towns and villages opposite. Also earlier, Ukrainian air defense forces said that they shot down drones launched by Russia at Ukraine's capital of Kiev in the early hours of the day. It happened as Russia launched 161 drones reportedly and a dozen missiles overnight, targeting gas infrastructure in Ukraine's Kharkiv region and hitting power supply in the southern Odessa region for a second night in a row. So clearly a lot going on. Let's get in further inputs now from our correspondent Anas Malik, who's on the ground in Ukraine. Anas, over to you. What's the latest that you're gathering at this point, specifically also about the press conference, which we have been hearing about?
Well, the President Zelensky has been addressing these remarks by President Trump directly. That has not been received very well here in Kyiv, at least in Ukraine at large. They're seen as a blatant interference into Ukraine's internal affairs, and they're seen sort of a unification factor. Now, remember, these comments come in the backdrop of these Russian advancement or Russian attacks, increased Russian attacks, be that on the capital city of Kyiv, that we witnessed. We heard air defense getting active just last night, hours ago, or be in other parts of the country, be that in Odessa, in southeast, or in Kharkiv regions. Now, while these attacks continues, the Ukrainians here, they believe that such comments from President Trump, A, they are unwarranted, B, they're undignified, and C, they will act as a unification factor for the Ukrainian people at large to rally behind their president to whatever outcome that comes in, number one. And number two, the other thing that we also have to understand is the paradigm shift in Ukrainian policy on US critique. Earlier, the Ukrainian side used to be very, very careful as to what they would have to say on the US admins. But now, following the Riyadh talks, or particularly from the Munich Security Conference onwards, we've seen this paradigm shift where the Ukrainian side is more more so openly criticizing the US policies, something that we have not seen in the past, Molly.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Anas, thanks very much for joining us with those updates. Of course, we're coming back to you for more later. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.